Well, you shouldn't be playing. You shouldn't be there. Maybe you shouldn't be in the country.
Before Donald Trump.
Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
And prior to Colin Kaepernick.
We believe everyone should stand for the national anthem.
There was a league that kowtowed.
Our policy is that you stand at the anthem, toeing the line.
Where the ruling class did the unthinkable.
I have a very strange feeling. As a matter of fact, I know this is my last fight.
It's the same move thrust upon Muhammad Ali for refusing to serve in the Vietnam War. The same move thrust upon United States Olympians Tommy Smith and John Carlos.
Gentlemen, we'll just save a lot of time and a lot of breath because you are no longer on this football team.
Neither the coach nor the blacks will back down.
Same with the Black 14 from Wyoming. The banishment of black athletes in sports, which this league right here wishes to bury and really never bring up. Long ago in 1901, Charlie Follis became the first black man to play in a pro football game. His tenure was 4 years. However, the issue back in the day was this: the game was incredibly violent and took the lives of many. The Ringers Chelsea Stark Jones and Lex Pryor would write, fielding a team quickly became an issue of supply and demand. One man who made the most of his career, a 5'9" running back who took Brown to the Rose Bowl, served in World War I. The first black coach in the modern era, a College Football Hall of Fame inductee and Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee, Fritz Pollard. Then in 1929, everything came to a halt. The stock market, once thriving, came tumbling down in a crash that would affect and strain the United States of America. This led to the Great Depression. It would last 10 plus years. And with it came the bigotry. White folks in the States took the jobs black Americans had. Unemployment for black folks hovered to roughly 50% during this time. As we always say on this show, sports reflect the times. Ray Kemp and Joe Lillard, seen here, became a model of scarcity as only 2 black players were rostered at the time. Then came 1933. Just like that, black players were no more in pro football. The architect is thought to be George Preston Marshall, owner of the Washington R-Words. This is a man who wanted to make Washington the South's team and mandated the fight song include Fight for Old Dixie, which was the fight song for the Confederacy. Many saw Marshall as an ally, including schmazzies who marched in favor of the team. Some held up signs that read, "Keep the R-Words white." The story goes like this. In 1933, the owners met and had what had been called by historians a gentleman's agreement to ban black players. George Halas, aka Papa Bear, had a kinship with George Preston Marshall. Halas would make wildly untrue claims on black players not being on rosters with, well, you know, there were no great black players in college, which was flat out wrong. Kenny Washington was a star at UCLA, just for kicks. Washington led the Bruins to their first undefeated season in school history. He left as the institution's leader, as statistically the greatest passer and rusher. Even after being voted the nation's best collegiate player, the most outstanding collegiate player, he went undrafted. In addition, Halas' statement of the game not appealing to black players was very dishonest. After all, Fritz Pollard not only launched, but also starred for his own pro team, the Brown Bombers. Upon Lillard's release, he, like many other prominent black football players, had to go to alternative leagues. Lastly, Halas' line of, "They're just uninterested in football," was hogwash. How can we prove it? This ticket right here. In 1938, Halas' Bears played the Colored All-Stars. There was another great player who debunked Halas' argument here. That would be Ozzie Simmons of Iowa. George Halas would say to Simmons, "Ozzie, I'd like to use you, but we have an unwritten rule in the National League, and that is blacks can't play." Head coach Paul J. Schisler essentially stated blacklisting black players was in the best interest of the league and those in it, thus they couldn't refuse. Historian Jack Silverstein would note the Bears didn't have a single black player prior to the ban, then went another 6 seasons afterwards. It wasn't until 1946 when a change finally happened. The Rams would sign Willie Strode and Kenny Washington. The Browns inked Bill Willis and Marion Motley, legends in their own right. And who was the last team to integrate? That would be George Preston Marshall's Washington R-words, of course, and they were forced to do so. In essence, the federal government made note of Marshall's 30-year lease at DC Stadium, which received public funds. The Interior Department could deny use of it if discriminatory hiring policies took place. Thus, the rest is history.